Good afternoon to one and all. So, my name is C.H. Vijay Kumar. I am from Telangana Social Welfare Junior College, Goliduddi Boys Campus. I am Zoology faculty. I am faculty in Zoology. So, today we are going to discuss about nerve impulsion. You see, whenever if you see a snake, you try to escape from there. If you listen or if you heard a good news, that happiness is expressed on the face. So that's why whenever we perceived, whenever we sensitized, our body sensitized, that sensory impulses reaches to the brain or received by the brain, and then brain can analyze the message and send the motor impulses. That's why whatever I said the examples, those are the output of impulsions. So, and one more thing, whenever we sensitized, whenever our body is sensitized, so in our body all the cells are excitable or some cells are excitable. So that's why we have to see, so which cells are electrically excited or excitable cells in our body. Why? Because when brain send the message, all the cells are not excitable. Some cells are excitable cells are there. So that's why the question is, which cells are electrically excited or excitable cells in our body? So you see that the answer is neurons, muscle cells, some of the endocrine cells. So neurons can get stimulated and they send impulsion. Muscles get stimulated and exhibit contraction, and some of the endocrine cells like insulin releasing cells excited and releasing the hormone, then only the conversion of excess glucose into glycogen is happened. So that's why neurons, muscle cells, some of the endocrine cells are excitable cells or electrically excited cells in our body. So in those, neurons can generate action potential. Neurons can generate action potential. At the same way, cardiac muscles also can generate action potentials. So then only our heart will be exhibit whole-hearted contraction or syncytial contraction. Yes, so that's why what is the advantage property of nerve cell? How it can generate action potential? Why? Because nerve cell has a polarized membrane. Nerve cell has a polarized membrane. So nerve cell membrane is axolemma. Why? Because you see on the picture, so every cell has just some not extended shapes are there in the cells, but nerve cells having cyton and cellular extension is there. And that cellular extension is called as axon. So that's why axolemma is polarized. Axolemma is polarized. That's why nerve cell has polarized membrane. Then only it can generate action, it can send the action potential, so it can send the impulsion. It can send the message as in the form of electrical impulsion. So this is a polarized membrane. So that cellular extension, axon and having axolemma is the advantageous property of neurons to send the impulsion to affect our organs. Yes. So then we see that next question is how the polarized membrane is maintained. How the polarized membrane is maintained. Already we see that, so nerve cell has polarized membrane. What is membrane? Axolemma. Axolemma is polarized membrane having the polarization. So that's why that polarization how created, how the polarized membrane is maintained. So you see the answer is So by giving some concepts, we can clarify that question, or we can conclude that answer. So you see that in our body, or in body, in ergonisms especially, so according to the nerve impulsion we are discussing, so that's why sodium is an abundant positive charged ion in the ECF, abundant positive charged ion in the ECF, and potassium is an abundant positive charged ion in the intracellular fluid. So according to the nerve cell, we can say axoplasm. Potassium is an abundant positive charged ion in ICF or intracellular fluid or axoplasm. So that's why these both statements are very, very important statements. Many times we can see in previous questions. So that's why when we discuss about how the polarized membrane is maintained, you have to remember that sodium is an abundant positive charged ion in the ECF, and potassium is abundant positive charged ion in ICF, intracellular fluid, or in axoplasm. So along them we have to remember that, so abundant positive charged ion in the bones is calcium. Yes. So these concepts we have to applicate that nerve cell. You see that, so axolemma, axoplasm is there, and above axolemma ECF is there, ECF, extracellular fluid is there. Yes. So then in axoplasm, potassium ions are 30% more than the ECF, and in ECF 10% more sodium ions are there than the axoplasm. Yes. So this is the distribution of potassium and Ng. That's why we can justify the statement sodium is abundant cation in or positive charged ion in the ECF, and potassium is the most abundant positive charged ion in the axoplasm. Okay. So then what happened next? Axolemma. Axolemma has leakage channels. So potassium has more leakage channels. So that's why from the axoplasm, potassium ions are diffused outwards or diffused into ECF through the more leakage channels. More potassium ions are expelled out or diffused into ECF. Instead of that, so some amount of Na plus ions are entered into the or diffused into axoplasm. Yes. So this diffusion is continuously occurred. What happened? So if that movement is continuously occurred, it leads to down the concentration of the positive charged ions, or it leads to down the concentration gradient of positive charged ions. Okay. So that's why to overcome that problem, or to prevent that problem, so one mechanism will be happened. So it is a sodium potassium pump. So on axolemma, along with the leakage channels, voltage gated channels also present. So sodium voltage gated channels are there and potassium voltage gated channels are there. In those channels, ATPase, sodium ase enzyme and potassium ase enzymes are present. They cause forcefully sodium potassium pump. Sodium potassium pump. So these sodium potassium pump cause, so 3 Na plus ions are expelled out and 2 K plus ions are imported into the axoplasm. Already in the diffusion, more K plus ions are expelled out into ECF, and again in the sodium potassium pump, 3 Na plus ions are expelled out. Instead of that, so 2 K plus ions from ECF imported into the axoplasm. So this will be leads to polarization. Okay, this will be leads to polarization. That means so more positive charges are moves from the ECF to axoplasm to ECF. More positive charges are moves to or diffused or pump to ECF from the exoplasm. So then what happened? More positive charges are situated above the axolemma and more negative charges are situated below the axolemma. Yes, so that's why it is a polarized membrane. That means in exoplasm, negativity is built up, negativity increased. That negativity will cause a potentiality is called resting membrane potential. Yes, resting membrane potential. That's why, so that diffusion of positive charged ions, sodium, potassium, leads to sodium potassium pump. That sodium potassium pump will occur or will cause that resting membrane potential. Yes, so resting membrane potential, it is and one more thing, so in exoplasm HCO3 minus Cl minus ions are there. So that's why due to the presence of that anions, so here negativity is built up, but never axolemma permeable to allow the movement of negative charged ions, axolemma not permeable to negative charged ions. Next, so these resting membrane potential is occurred. That means without any nerve impulsion, it has a membrane potential is called resting membrane potential. Next question, how the resting potentiality of the membrane can be maintained, or how the resting membrane potential maintained. That means the question meaning is if resting membrane potential is constant or dynamic. Constant or dynamic. So we can discuss about that. Resting membrane potential is not constant. Yes. So resting membrane potential typical value is minus 70 MV. Minus 70 MV. So minus 70 MV should be considered in the exoplasm. Why? Because minus indicated in the exoplasm. So it is a cell part, that's why exoplasm negativity should be considered. Yes. So that's why minus 70 MV is there. These minus 70 MV resting potential will, if potential becomes less negative, is called depolarization. If minus 70 MV resting potential becomes more negative, is called hyperpolarization. Yes. So once again you have to remember the statements. All these statements will become in examination point of view as the form of questions. That's why we have to remember those sentences. So typical value of resting membrane potential is minus 70 MV. And when minus 70 MV resting membrane potential becomes less negative, is called depolarization. And when minus 70 MV resting potential becomes more negative, is called hyperpolarization. Yes. So that's why we can say resting potentiality is not constant. It will be dynamic. Otherwise, how the nerve impulsion can pass along the length of axon? So there is no passing of the message along the length of an organ. When resting membrane potential get disturbed, then only that message will be passed along the length of axon. So that's why, so we have to discuss about the graphical presentation. You see that, so first minus 70 MV is resting membrane potential. Yes. This graph also many times came in examination. So that's why according to examination point of view, it is very, very important also. So minus 70 MV is resting membrane potential. Yes, resting membrane potential. When resting membrane potential become less negative is called depolarization. Actually, it will be get threshold. Then only less negative will be happen is called depolarization. So minus 55 MV threshold potential, which will be cause action potential, and 0 and plus 40 and plus 45. So minus 70, minus 55, less negative. Minus 55 to 0, less negative. So that's why when minus 70 MV resting membrane potential become less negative is called depolarization. So A is resting membrane potential, B is threshold potential, C is depolarization. Maybe minus 2 plus it will be increased. Then again that minus 70 MV will become more negative is called as minus 90 MV is called as hyperpolarization. So D is repolarization. and E is D, E, F. So D, E is repolarization, F is hyperpolarization. Yes, once again A is minus 70 MV is called resting membrane potential. Yes, resting membrane potential. Resting membrane potential. Resting membrane potential. And B is minus 55. B is minus 55 threshold potential. Threshold potential. Threshold potential. C is depolarization. C is depolarization. Less negative or positive. Yes. So then D is action potential. Action potential. E is repolarization. Repolarization. And F is hyperpolarization. F is hyperpolarization. F is hyperpolarization. So like this only in the examination point of view, they will give in examination they will give question as like this: A, what is A, what is B, what is C, what is D, what is E, what is F. You have to recognize. Okay, that's why. So minus 70 MV resting membrane potential is not constant. It is dynamic. It can change. It become less negative, minus 55 threshold potential, and very less negative C, depolarization, and repolarization. I will be discussed again that between the difference potential is called action potential, become more negative hyperpolarization. Okay, so you have to remember. So it is dynamic or constant, that only you have to remember. Then you have to discuss about remember the points. Minus 70 MV resting potential becomes less negative, depolarization. Minus 70 MV resting potential becomes more negative, is called hyperpolarization. Yes. So and you have to remember that graphical representation also about nerve impulsion. And so resting membrane potential is not constant, is dynamic. Which ions are responsible for the changes? Which ions are responsible for the changes? We have to discuss about them. So some ions are responsible for the depolarization and repolarization and hyperpolarization. So hyperpolarization. Yes, hyperpolarization. So depolarization means when nerve gets stimulated, so influx of Na plus ions are occurred, then only inside positivity increase is called depolarization. And when depolarization moves forward, the adjacent place repolarized, then in repolarization area the K plus or potassium voltage gated channels are opened, then efflux of K plus ions are occurred, is called repolarization. Yes. Then when action potential created, why? Because so adjacent area on the plasma membrane, so depolarization potential difference is called action potential. When it moves so rapidly, efflux of K plus ions are occurred, it is called as hyperpolarization. Yes. So in the action potential, in the form of nerve impulsion, the three stages are there: depolarization, repolarization and hyperpolarization. Hyperpolarization is the peak stage of nerve impulsion. Why? Because in hyperpolarization, so K plus voltage gated channels remains open for a brief time. So that's why it cannot create action potential. But after some time, that sodium potassium pump occurred, again it get resting status, then only it start that depolarization if nerve get stimulated. Yes. So that's why responsible for the changes, which ions are responsible for the changes: influx of Na plus ions, depolarization; efflux of K plus ions, repolarization; rapid efflux of K plus ions, hyperpolarization is responsible for that. These statements also many times we can see in previous questions. Yes. So then how the impulsion get transferred among the neurons? When impulsion reaches nerve terminal, impulsion get transferred among the neurons. So when action potential reaches axon terminal, Then at synaptic botons it reaches. Then at synapse, two membranes are there, presynaptic membrane, postsynaptic membrane. Presynaptic membrane have voltage gated channels of calcium. So that's why calcium entered into the synaptic knobs, and synaptic vesicles are moved toward the presynaptic membrane. Excitosis occurred. Then neurotransmitters are released into the synaptic cleft. Then only on the postsynaptic membrane, receptors will be receive the message of chemical neurotransmitters. Then postsynaptic membrane will be get depolarized. But all the neurotransmitters can cause depolarization or postsynaptic membrane? No. So why? Because neurotransmitters are two types: excitatory neurotransmitters and inhibitory neurotransmitters. If into the synaptic cleft, excitatory neurotransmitters will be released into the synaptic cleft, so it will be open, or that message will be received by the receptors on the postsynaptic membrane, and then from the synaptic cleft, Na plus ions are entered into the postsynaptic membrane. Then only on the postsynaptic membrane depolarization causes. The depolarization more likely create action potential. Yes, but sometimes, so in the synaptic cleft, inhibitory neurotransmitters like GABA, glycine will be released. So that's why on the postsynaptic membrane, receptor receive the message. Then from the synaptic cleft, why? Because in the synaptic cleft more chloride ions are there. From the synaptic cleft, chloride ions are entered into the postsynaptic membrane. Then hyperpolarization will be happened. Why? Because so more negativity will be increased in the postsynaptic membrane, then it leads to hyperpolarization. Yes. So the hyperpolarization more not likely create action potential. That's why if in the synaptic cleft excitatory neurotransmitters can released is called as EPSP, excitatory postsynaptic potentials on the postsynaptic neuron. And if into synaptic cleft inhibitory neurotransmitters are released, it is called as IPSP on the postsynaptic membrane. IPSP means inhibitory postsynaptic potentials will be caused. Okay, so that's why all the neurotransmitters cannot cause depolarization on postsynaptic membranes. Two types of postsynaptic potentials will be caused on the postsynaptic membrane. They are EPSP and IPSP. So finally, so you have to remember that so along the length of axon, so outside, inside, positive and negative charges are situated. Okay. So this potential difference before excitement cell is called as resting membrane potential. Yes. So when during the propagation of nerve impulsion, adjacent areas different potential difference is called as action potential. Why? Because so when we see the question difference, potential difference, so we unfortunately or unexpectedly keep the answer wrong. Why? Because so before excitement, along the length of axon, outside, inside, the membrane potential difference is called as resting membrane potential. During the propagation of nerve impulsion, adjacent areas difference potential is called as action potential. Yes. So that's why once again I will recapitulate today's points. Okay. So that in our body, excitable cells are neurons, muscles, some endocrine cells. Resting membrane potential is caused by sodium potassium pump. Resting membrane potential is not constant, it can change. Why? Because nerve cells are get excited, then only it send the impulsion. Resting membrane potential typical value is -70 MV. When -70 MV resting membrane potential can become less negative, is called depolarization, and -70 MV will become more negative is called hyperpolarization. Then influx of Na plus ions into the exoplasm leads to or causing the depolarization during the propagation of nerve impulsion, and due to the efflux of K plus ions causing the repolarization, and due to the rapid efflux of K plus ions leads to hyperpolarization. Yes, and at the synapse, two types of potential will be caused, EPSP and IPSP. Okay, thank you very much.